A billionaire CEO, tired of his empty luxury life, disguised himself as an ordinary man for one simple meal. He walked into a small, struggling restaurant, expecting nothing more than a quiet steak dinner. Then, the waitress secretly slipped him a note. And what was written on it changed both their lives forever. Michael Harrison sat alone in his penthouse overlooking the city, surrounded by wealth that felt increasingly meaningless. His 45 years of relentless ambition, having built a $10 billion empire, but left him emotionally bankrupt and profoundly lonely. His days were filled with board meetings, corporate deals, and people who valued his money rather than his humanity. Every relationship transactional, every conversation calculated. Tonight, exhausted by the performance of being a billionaire, Michael made an impulsive decision. He changed into simple jeans and a plain shirt, left his luxury car at home, and walked into the city's poorest neighborhood, looking for authentic human connection in the only place where nobody would recognize him. He found Rosa's Diner, a struggling family restaurant with faded paint and flickering neon sign. The kind of place corporate chains had driven to the edge of extinction. Inside, only 3 tables were occupied, the emptiness suggesting financial desperation that Michael recognized from business analysis but had never experienced personally. Behind the counter stood Emma Rodriguez, a 26-year-old waitress whose tired eyes and worn uniform told stories of struggle, her warm smile somehow surviving circumstances that would have broken lesser spirits. Michael sat at the counter, and Emma approached with genuine friendliness that seemed remarkable given the obvious hardship surrounding her. "Welcome. What can I get you tonight?" Michael studied the simple menu with prices suggesting the restaurant barely covered costs. "Just a steak, please. Medium rare. Whatever vegetables you have." Emma's smile brightened. "Coming right up. Our cook makes the best steak in the city, even if nobody knows it anymore." She disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Michael to observe the restaurant. Family photos on the walls showing happier times. A couple in the corner stretching one meal between them because they couldn't afford more. The owner visible through the kitchen window cooking with pride, despite the empty tables that signaled imminent closure. Emma served Michael's meal with careful attention, and he was surprised by the quality. The steak was genuinely excellent, prepared with skill and care that deserved recognition this neighborhood couldn't provide. As Emma refilled his water, she hesitated, then quickly slipped a folded napkin beside his plate before moving away nervously. Michael waited until she was distracted before opening it, and what he read made his throat tighten with emotion he hadn't felt in years. "Sir, I don't know you, but you seem kind. We're closing next week. Can't afford rent. My daughter needs medicine I can't buy. If you're struggling too, I'm sorry for bothering you. If you're not, maybe you know someone hiring? I'll work any job. I just need to save my family. God bless you." "Emma," Michael sat stunned, the napkin trembling in his hands as he processed this desperate plea from a woman who'd shown him more genuine warmth in 10 minutes than he'd experienced in years from people who knew his wealth. Emma had seen a stranger who looked ordinary and, despite her own crisis, had treated him with dignity and kindness, her note revealing both crushing need and remarkable humility. She wasn't demanding or entitled, just desperately hopeful that human connection might create opportunity. Michael's carefully constructed emotional walls crumbled as he recognized that this exhausted waitress possessed something his billions couldn't buy: the ability to maintain grace and kindness despite suffering, to see strangers as potential helpers rather than threats, to ask for help without losing dignity. Michael called Emma over, his voice rough with emotion barely contained. "Emma, I read your note. Tell me about your situation." Emma's face flushed with embarrassment and fear that she'd crossed boundaries, but Michael's expression held only compassion. So she explained haltingly. Her husband had died 2 years ago, leaving medical debt. Her 6-year-old daughter had chronic illness requiring expensive medication. The restaurant her parents owned was dying because they couldn't compete with chains. Next week's closure would leave her unemployed in a neighborhood with no opportunities, and she was terrified her daughter would suffer because she couldn't provide. Michael listened completely, then asked a question that confused her. "Emma, what if this restaurant didn't close? What if it had the investment to renovate, market properly, and compete? Would your parents be able to run it successfully?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. They're amazing cooks and wonderful people, but they'd need $100,000 we'll never have. Banks won't loan to failing businesses, and we have nothing left to sell. It's impossible. Michael pulled out his phone, made 3 calls while Emma watched bewildered, then looked at her with the first genuine smile he'd worn in months. Emma, I'm Michael Harrison. I own Harrison Industries. I walked in here tonight, tired of my empty life. And you showed me more authentic kindness in minutes than I've experienced in years. Your note wasn't begging, it was brave honesty. I'm investing in this restaurant, paying your daughter's medical bills, and offering you a management position at my foundation that funds struggling small businesses. Because you understand what matters in ways my MBA executives never will. Emma collapsed into the chair beside him, sobbing with relief and disbelief, as Michael explained that he'd been looking for authentic people to help him redirect his wealth toward actual impact, rather than just accumulating more money he didn't need. He'd found countless investment opportunities, but never found people he trusted to value human dignity over profit margins. Emma's note had revealed someone who maintained kindness despite suffering, who asked for help while offering dignity, who saw strangers as potential connections rather than threats. That character was worth more than any business degree, and Michael wanted to learn from it while helping her family survive. Rosa's Diner reopened 3 months later after complete renovation. Michael's investment transforming it into a destination restaurant that honored its family recipes while providing living wages and health insurance to all employees. Emma managed the Harrison Foundation's small business program, her understanding of struggle making her exceptionally effective at identifying worthy recipients and designing support that preserved dignity. Her daughter received proper medical care. Her parents rebuilt their dream, and Michael finally found purpose beyond accumulation, using wealth to amplify the kindness of people like Emma, who maintained humanity despite circumstances that would excuse bitterness. And every week, Michael returned to Rosa's Diner for a simple steak dinner, sitting at the same counter where a desperate note from a struggling waitress had reminded him that wealth without human connection is poverty. That kindness shown when you have nothing is the truest form of richness, and that sometimes salvation comes from the people we least expect in moments when we stop performing success and finally become honest about our emptiness, proving that authentic connection requires vulnerability, that helping others heals the helper, and that the most valuable thing you can receive isn't money or status, but a reminder that you're human, and that genuine kindness still exists if you're brave enough to seek it in humble places rather than exclusive ones.